Welcome to the Mythbusters After Show. We are taking your questions about our episode Duel Dilemma, in which Jamie and I went mano a mano with guns and swords. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
First question. I was surprised that Jamie needed knife throwing training. Didn't he learn this when he ran a saloon in the Old West? Well, how about it? Did you learn knife throwing training when you ran a saloon in the Old West?
No. I never found knife throwing to be a very practical pursuit because the fact is that it's only useful for a specific distance that you have to practice for. Everything else is sheer luck.
Well, can't you practice for multiple distances?
You kind of doesn't work that way. You can, but it's like you kind of need to get worked into it. Even the pros, even the guy that we had in, had quite a few knives hitting the floor before he dialed in on it, and then he could do that consistently, as I could once I got well practiced. As a technique, though, it's just not practical because of that. You never know what circumstances you're going to be unless you come in and measure the area with a tape measure or something like that. It's useless.
All right. But question number 2 was about being at a set distance to make the knife throw work, but you've already answered that. So I'm going to move on to the next one. You used a water balloon substitute, which let you throw with ease. Do you think if you'd stuck with a real knife, you'd have had to concentrate more, which may have slowed you down?
Actually, it was a bit of a trade-off. Yes, you would have to concentrate more about the throw, but if you ignore the set distance thing and assume that you had dialed that in, the balloon was actually kind of hard to hold on to, and so you had to be a little ginger with it. The knife, you've got a good little solid grip, and you can just flick it.
Yeah.
And so it's something you can actually do a little quicker, if anything.
Right. Well, I mean, we were positing a best possible case scenario here of someone who was really, obviously, really good at knife throwing, like James Coburn is supposed to be in The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Adam, do you feel you got some revenge from the Ultimate Mythbuster episode here? I guess they're referring to the fact that I missed and hit you in the arms a bunch of times during this with the paintballs. I'm really, I can't say this enough. I'm so not interested in hurting him on purpose. I don't even think it's that funny because I know what it feels like to get hit by a paintball, and that sucks.
We've had our fill of doing that anyway. It's like it's no new thrill.
Been there, done that. Okay. For the samurai myth, I feel like I want to read these. Never mind. For the samurai myth, how can we trust your data given you only had 3 hours experience with kendo? This is interesting.
Yeah, and the first answer to that is simply that we both had the same amount of training.
Right, we had precisely the same amount of training. So we are tabula rasas when it comes to kendo.
Yeah, and this is about reaction time. It's not about a particular skill.
Yeah.
And so all things being equal, we should be equal, the same as a more experienced pair of people that were equal should be equal.
One would imagine, and that's what we imagined, and we also thought it would be much more funny to watch us smacking each other on the heads, which it is funny to watch. It was really awful to go through. We both had headaches for like a day after that. Jamie had a welt on the top of his head.
Yeah, those things weren't very well padded, and we had modified these things.
Well, actually, there's 2 ways that they were modified poorly. One is that they have like a full extra pound of screen on them. The other is that under the screen, I don't know if you can see it, there's these 3 bits of red twine. Now, being the kendo novices we didn't have any training about the kendo swords, practice swords, before I put these together. These red pieces of twine actually keep this thing together and make it hit harder. So we were actually hitting each other with pretty much sticks, not really kendo practice swords.
Yeah, these things are made to flex, as you can see. This one's not tight at all.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Huge difference.
So we were kind of hurting ourselves, and we didn't know it.
Yes, if I had one word to describe that test, it would be ow. Adam, how high was the brown pants factor when Jamie was running at you? It wasn't that scary to have him run at me. The most shocking thing was to have him screaming like that. In my long association with Jamie, I have never heard him let out a volume of a scream like that.
I was trying to up the brown pants factor, but Adam got used to it pretty quickly, I think.
If you had an arm wrestle instead of a duel, who would win? I think that's pretty clear. I think Jamie would win. He works out with his arms every day, and I don't. That's how you put it. All right, that has been the Mythbusters After Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.